Eagles. They are building something. The Eagles are building something because, you got two new coordinators. The first month of the season, people are like, I've gotten a lot of sense of like, what's wrong with the Eagles? Like people ask me. I went on a Commanders podcast.
Are they real?
I'm like, well, they're fucking 4-0. They're one of only 3 teams now to be 5-0 off of a loss on a Super Bowl. So, like, I saw that on SVP show last night. So they're coming out like a professional outfit. And I want to say this first. I think of the Eagles now. Dad and I were talking last week, and he was like, do they kind of remind you of the Patriots sometimes? Like when the Patriots were real good, like they can just do what they need to do to win. Like they can, and it's true because they can morph into a couple different teams. They are shapeshifters.
That's a good way to put it.
And like I think on top of that, if you want to be the Patriots, if you want to be some team that comes back year after year, you have to pass these tests. You have to, if you lose the Super Bowl, you intend on being back there again. You have to start fast. You have to,
can't lose momentum.
This window closed for a second for them, but the Eagles have been relevant now for 6-7 years. I mean, and so I want to tip my cap to them for building a program, and also switching coaches, nailing the hire, even though he was nervous at the fucking press conference, you geniuses.
He was.
For them to stick the landing and be right back where they are, there's something programmatic that's good about the Eagles, and I think this is one of those wins. So, Eagles offense back to basics. Tough West Coast trip. Offensive line first off was great as always, and I think that's the backbone of this team. But they're tush pushing 5 times in this game, including at the end of the first half. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna score a touchdown, which I love. They're tush pushing on 4th and 2. It was almost disrespectful. It was like a long 2.
Mm-hmm.
You get the Swift run game. We talked about that run game. We talked about them getting the Rams out of that penny front, the lighter nickel look out of that penny front.
That's disrespectful.
And they got him. They got him out really quick. I mean, and we thought it might be Swift. Swift was 17 for 70 on the ground, but what it was Dallas Goedert. And we talked about those matchups where you have a size advantage because of that. You got him out of penny. He had 4 receptions for 45 on the first drive. I don't mean to say you got him out of penny the whole game, but you got him out of the smaller groupings. And then the QB run game, which is something we highlighted. The first month of the season, I don't know if Jalen, if they're like being intentional about, hey, we don't want to beat this guy, or maybe he was a little dinged. I know McNabb had something to say about something that kind of went under the radar. I don't know if that was clickbait, but McNabb said, I think he's dinged. This was a few weeks ago. They're running the ball, and without Jalen Hurts, you leave a little bit of top end production in the run game on the table. I mean, it's damn near perfect, but this is the stuff we talked about. Rams rush lanes. We talked about quarterback run. They went to it in the red zone. I was really happy to see that. Even though every time you run the guy, it is risky. I mean, he took a step on one of his longer runs, and I thought he blew his knee out. I mean, like he landed awkward. It's like every time I'm holding my breath. But to win these big games, you got to use them. And third down, 13 of 18 compared to 4-12 last week. 205 in the red zone, if I'm nitpicking, and they threw a pick in the end zone. So this could have been worse. The Eagles' defense, though, to me, are the stars of the day. Because I was worried about this Rams offense. They've been picking some people apart in the secondary. You're shorthanded. They get Cooper Kupp back. If you were to tell the Rams in team meeting Friday night, the mind reader comes in. He fucking reads Sean McVay's mind. He reads Cooper Kupp's mind. And he's like, guys, I got an announcement to make. The Rams, you're going to give up 23 points to the Eagles, the defending NFC champions. You're going to give up.
We're going to win.
We're going to win that game.
Easy.
That's the mindset of a team that can score. And so I thought the Eagles defense keeping the points down, especially in the second half. The Desai coming in and saying, listen, we've given up a bunch to Cooper Kupp. The first drive, I think he goes like 5 for 56. We're going to put a stop to that. We're going to put our best guys on him. No more. I mean, the guys that he had Morrow, Ricks, and a couple other guys on him on the first drive. Yeah. And so we got to fix that. So you go to the half. Fuck it. We're putting Bradbury back in the slot some. Bradbury, Slay. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at this guy. 3 sacks in the second half. Jalen Carter came out on fire and finished by Hassan Reddick, who continues to be a big moment guy for them. But 3 sacks, 5 hits in the second half, Kupp 2 for 23 and 81 yards of offense. So these defensive adjustments really worked for them. And I got to tip my cap to the coordinator. It was just
shutout second half too.
It was just a complete game by them. Everybody had a hand in this thing. And I know this was going to be a tough game. I talked about not wanting to bet it. I teased it. But the Eagles weren't in control of this game in the second half because they have that run game and the defense started tightening up. And you could just feel, even though the Rams were in it, they had them at arm's length.
Yep.
And I think for the Rams, you're 2-3 out of this tough stretch. I thought they'd be worse.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tip my cap to them. And McVay is a hell of a football coach.
2-3, but they have an identity. And it's understated. Like you're talking about, McVay's a hell of a football coach.
Yeah.
We talk about a half dozen guys every Sunday and Monday. And
yeah.
None of them are last name McVay. And we forget about the boy genius.
It's another Irish guy.
But
we forget about the boy genius.
It's Irish coaches.
Watching this game, you can it's kind of the explanation of defense wins championships. Because the Rams clearly have an offense that can score points, but when you look at their team, their defense is just Aaron Donald and
a bunch of guys.
And a bunch of guys that play hard, but when it comes to the ending of the season, like, you're going to need a defense.
Playmakers.
You're going to need playmakers. You're going to need points on defense. You're
That's
going to need things happening.
You can't beat the Eagles with just Aaron Donald. You can't. Nope. Aaron Donald has not made a huge impact when he's played the Eagles because there's 5 giants there, and they're coming to the game and saying, hey, we're going to fucking double the shit out of Aaron Donald.
Even Jon Snow needed the cavalry to arrive.
Yes.
At the Battle of the Bastards. You know
exactly.
What I'm saying? Jon Snow can't just stand out there in front of the horses all fucking day.
He can't do it himself. You need like some of the hobbits and shit. So
yeah, bring them too.